Welcome, dear learners. I hope by now you must have had a brief idea of public finance, taxes, and what becomes the basis of taxation, that is the ability to pay principle. Now, when we were talking of taxes, they do incur certain problems. So, today we'll be discussing with those concepts of taxes. So, learners, in the course of Fundamentals of Economics and Finance, your instructor Parul Jain from the Department of Economics, DAV Postgraduate College, welcome you all. Today, we'll be dealing with the topics of tax planning, tax avoidance, evasion, the effects and the measures adopted. Tax is a compulsory payment that is levied by the government on the individuals without any direct real benefit to the taxpayer. Till now, you must have understood also that what varied kind of taxes are there in the economy of the center and the state, the direct taxes in the form of income tax, corporate tax, wealth tax, state land revenue is there, then indirect taxes are there, excise duty is there, GST is there, entertainment vehicle, these are all entertainment tax and all are merged into GST. So what do we see? We have a complex system of taxes and people many a times lack awareness or they don't understand the concept or lack tax culture. So we'll discuss important topics today. One is the tax planning, but I'll start with tax avoidance and evasion. Tax avoidance and evasion are the two terms which have a thin line of demarcation. See, interchangeably in business relations today, in our conversational language, we use tax avoidance and evasion without even knowing the meaning of these two, along with tax planning. So, we must understand what is tax planning, what is tax avoidance and what is tax evasion. Tax planning. See, government when imposes tax on us, on the individuals according to our ability to pay, according to the taxable capacity of the economy, when the government imposes taxes to reduce this sacrifice element, to reduce our disutility, government also provides certain incentives to us in the form of exemptions, in the form of deductions. By law, legally, government gives us various laws under the Tax Act that we can use and reduce our tax liability. So, tax arrangement is that such measure. Tax planning is that such measure. We know what is our income, what are the various sources of income, be it income tax, corporate tax. Income has also been categorized into 5 categories, other various kinds of taxes, especially with respect to direct taxes, like income from salary, income from business and profession, income from capital gains, income from house property, and income from any other source. These are the 5 categories of income. So, when a tax is imposed on this income, government along with the imposition of tax, the authorities have given us also incentives, also measures by law that we can use those measures and reduce our tax liability. So, tax planning or what we say tax mitigation refers to arrangements whereby the taxpayer takes advantage of the fiscal incentives available to him, and these fiscal incentives what we say are tax incentives given by the government to us by submitting to the conditions and economic consequences that our particular legislation entails. So, the line is there between tax planning and tax avoidance. Tax planning, legally we are using, with a good motive we are using the various measures given by the government and reducing our tax liability. However, when we go for tax avoidance, the line is very thin. Sometimes we don't realize that we have shifted from planning to avoidance. The difference between planning and avoidance is legal, but a malified motive is involved in tax avoidance also. We are using the loopholes in the tax system to avoid our taxes. Like earlier, what was there? We are gifting in the form of gift tax. We used to gift to our blood relations and escape from the tax net. That was that can serve as an example of avoidance. So, any planning of tax, although done strictly according to the legal requirement, but a malified small motive, it defeats the basic intention of legislation behind, could be termed as avoidance. Therefore, I told you that a line between planning and avoidance is very thin. We don't realize when we shift from planning to avoidance. So, in other words, attempt by legal means to prevent or reduce our liability which would otherwise be incurred is avoidance. Avoidance and planning are two sides. However, the most tough side and that leads to revenue loss, illegal and malified motive is attached to it is the tax evasion. It is what? It is downright defrauding of revenue through illegal acts, not declaring our income, suppression of classification of the fact relating to one's true tax liability. That means an individual who is earning is not declaring his or her true income and is escaping from tax net. It is illegal. A fraudulent motive is there. We are not using the tools, we are not using the laws to reduce our tax liability, but the way is wrong through which we are reducing our tax liability. It is not lawful, illegal, misrepresentation, fraud if we are doing tax avoidance. And tax avoidance is not declaring our money, it is misrepresentation, fraudulent motive is there, and when we see this tax evasion gives rise to black money and it has a close relationship with black money and corruption, and the three feed on. In fact, we say that black money is the oxygen of corruption and corruption is the oxygen of black money. So, the consequences of avoidance and evasion are different for taxpayers, although both reduce the revenue of the government, and we need to check both, especially tax avoidance. See, when the government is giving us incentives, already tax incentives are the expenditure cost to the government. That amount of revenue the government is foregoing, the authorities are foregoing to minimize or to reduce the element of sacrifice on the taxpayer. Apart from that, if we are avoiding the tax and on top of that evading the tax, not declaring the true self, then we are thoroughly reducing the revenue for the government, and that needs to be checked greatly. Now, when tax avoidance is there in the economy, it is still persisting. What are the effects or the distortionary impact it is having on the economy? The first and foremost, it undermines horizontal equity in the taxation. What does this mean? See, equity is similar people under similar circumstances should be taxed similarly, and people under dissimilar circumstances should be taxed dissimilarly. See, equity is of two types. One is horizontal equity and the other one is vertical equity. Now, what does this horizontal and vertical equity mean? Horizontal equity means people who are at par, who are having the same income, are at horizontal level. However, if people are having different income, they are on vertical level. 4 individuals earning 50,000 per month are horizontally equal. However, an individual who is earning 1 lakh per month and the other one is earning 50,000, both those individuals are on a vertical basis. So horizontal equity basically says all the people who are earning same income should be taxed similarly. But what happens? Suppose there are 4 individuals, A, B, C and D. The income of all the 4 are same and the tax imposed on all the 4 individuals is same. A hypothetical tax rate I am taking, that is say 20% tax is imposed on all 4 individuals. Now what would happen? If all are earning 50,000 rupees per month, then A and B are clearly declaring their income of 50,000. However, C and D, what they are doing? They are evading the tax. They are not declaring their income of 50,000 rupees. Maybe they are declaring their income only as 35,000 rupees. The 15,000 rupees that is left with them becomes the black money. So, when the income of 35,000 rupees is declared, this means 20% of 35,000 would be taken as tax from C and D and 20% of 50,000 would be taken from A and B. This means earning same, horizontally at par with each other but paying different amount of taxes. So the disposable income of A and B and C and D would be different, which shouldn't have been the case. So it is distorting it. That means tax burden of the comparable taxpayer becomes wide apart. A person is earning same, few persons, but paying different amount of taxes. Legally, they are not reducing their tax liability. Rather, they are not declaring their income. Misinterpretation of their income is there and they are evading the tax. So, we'll be having more money to spend while others would be having less money to spend. That becomes a problem. And that increases unnecessary consumption, unnecessary spending in the economy. If too much black money, a parallel economy gets developed. Vertical equity is also distorted since there is already a difference between the two taxpayers. One is earning 1 lakh and the other one is earning say 50,000. The difference is there. On top of that, what happens? The person who is earning more is not declaring his or her income and paying lesser amount of tax than the person who is earning less. You know, there was a case, I was traveling somewhere and 2 people were talking. One was a businessman and the other one was a salaried person, and they were discussing quite nicely the things and all. And then suddenly I heard one conversation. I was sitting just back of them and I heard this conversation that the businessman told, you know, what taxes you are paying in a span of 1 year, 1 month. If I divide your whole year's tax in 12 months, I pay hardly what you pay in 1 month. So what you are paying in 3 months is my annual tax payment. See the amount of difference. Difference in income and distortion of taxes. Means vertical equity also is adversely affected. So distortions in allocation of resources and it erodes the revenue collection. The revenue is thoroughly reduced of the government. So we can say the tax evasion affects horizontal and vertical equity system both, and the basic intention of equity is distorted. Furthermore, evasion also affects efficiency of the production structure, as some taxpayers evade and others do not. So some are into production and some are not. It lowers the intake and tends to convert the system into unrealistic one. The revenue loss is there, the resources raised are less, so the expenditure cannot be, government faces deficit, actual taxpayers are less in our economy. For the financial year 23-24, the taxpayers have increased, but not as much as the income earners are there in the economy. Evasion also involves flouting of laws and generating underground economy. As I told you, the laws are misinterpreted, you are breaking the legal tax laws, and this evasion money gives rise to parallel economy or the black economy, which is not good. That on the basis of income that is unreported, unaccounted. So this underground economy, what we say, is also named as unaccounted income, black income, dirty income, black wealth, a shadow economy, parallel economy, or unofficial economy. These are the various names of the parallel economy that is generated out of black money, and the black money is generated because of the tax evasion. So, evasion and avoidance, although evasion is a more fraudulent way, evasion and avoidance should be minimized so that the revenue loss is reduced. See, what happens is in India, the unsanctioned or black market economy has been created from evasion of both direct and indirect taxes. See, this money is not spent in proper, many a times not proper way. It may give rise to antisocial activities, under and overvaluation of foreign trade might be there, smuggling, illegal channels do develop, unnecessary expenditure is there, which raises the standard of spending of the people exorbitantly. So the problem is, however, more serious in direct tax, since earlier in the lectures we were discussing that the impact and incidence of direct taxes on the same individual. So the impact and incidence is borne by the taxpayer is felt more. The sacrifice is felt more. So, in direct taxes, the problem is more serious because there is a scope of evasion. In indirect taxes, we have discussed earlier also that the scope of evasion is less and it can be shifted as well. So, if I give you a data that most early estimates of, India has many times tried to have an estimate of black money. So, early estimates of black money were made by N. Calder, Vanchu Committee, O.P. Chopra Committee, NIPFP, that is the National Institute of Public Finance and Policy. D.K. Ranganekar has also made an estimation of black money. However, according to the report of Transparency International Corruption Perception Index for 2023, India's rank has improved from 94 in 12 to 78 in 2018. This was an article that was published in Business Standard. This data is from that. In 2023, however, it has fallen to 93 again. That means what? That the corruption has increased, the black money has increased. Now, when this kind of scenario is there, the government should, and in the past, the government has also taken stringent steps to regulate, to control this formation of black money, to check evasion on the first stage, and then to unearth black money. First, it is important that evasion should be stopped. If evasion is stopped, automatically the black money is stopped. And second, if evasion occurs, then how can we unearth the black money? So after 1991, more steps have been taken towards this. The first and foremost, what we will be discussing is the Voluntary Disclosure Scheme of 1997. As per the Finance Act 97, any person can declare about undisclosed, undeclared income, pay tax and enjoy various tax immunities. Government has given them an open offer that VDS is the scheme we are giving. You declare your undeclared income, disclose it, pay tax, and then this would include Hindu undivided families, firms, companies, trust, females, other taxpayers who they all come under VDS 97. Another important step undertaken by the government was PAN. Compulsory quoting of PAN number, permanent account number, in all high value transactions. Till date also we can see that we have to submit the PAN numbers in various high denomination transactions. A Money Laundering Act was also proposed in 2002. Payment above 20,000 should be given by the way of checks. Now we have digital payments, so everything is centralized and banking system has upgraded. So the evasion in these kind of things can be reduced. But in 2002, there was no such much digital payment systems were going on. So they say ki it needs to be paid by check so that the amount transferred can be checked by the government. Furthermore, tax was also charged for providing money received beyond 50,000, now 1 lakh as gift. Earlier it was 50,000, now it is 1 lakh as gift, except the relations. In blood relations, if you are giving, then you need not to pay the tax. Otherwise, it was shifted from donor to doi, who is earning out of that gift should pay the taxes. Black money and imposition of tax act was also there, through which the government tried to unearth the black money. Income declaration scheme from 1st June to 30th September 2016 was also a step taken by the government to declare your unearthed income, to declare your undisclosed income, pay fine, penalty, give certain amount of tax, and rest money would be white and you can enjoy the amenities. Demonetization is another step. Recently, the demonetization took place on November 8, 2016 of 500 and 1000 rupees note. It was announced by the government. That would also help to waive out the high denomination currency notes. Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana is also known as Income Declaration Scheme 2, after this Income Declaration Scheme 1. That also served as a way to know about the taxes. 3 institutes, NIPFP, National Council of Applied Economic Research and National Institute of Financial Management and Research have been requested regularly to give an account of this unaccounted money. The government has also introduced Black Money Act, under which disclosure of around 4,000 crores in 3 months have been disclosed. See the amount, the impact of this act. Benami Transaction Prohibition Bill has also been introduced in the Parliament for the disclosure of this black money. In 2011, government also announced a 5-pronged strategy that would help in handling the problem of black money. First, a global crusade they will be joining, that is against black money. A more stringent legislative framework, that is the structure that has little loopholes, reforms in the taxation structure so that people cannot avoid tax and evade tax. Setting institutions for dealing with illicit money. Specific institutions would be there to who deal with this black money, illicit money, so that it could be utilized properly. System of implementation should be more strong, and imparting skills for personnel for effective actions. That means the training programs should be thoroughly run so that we have officers who can deal with this. However, in spite of these measures, the malady of evasion is still continuing in the economy and it is still a threat to the revenue loss. So, a stricter imposition of penalties following BA's rigorous prospection policy needs to be done. Anti-corruption and anti-evasion strategies need to be more effective, and one more thing is necessary. It is on the part of the government that stringent rules and policies need to be done, but somehow we feel like a tax culture is also lacking in India. That needs to be done. We should feel our responsibility that if we are earning, we need to pay the taxes honestly. So, at socio-economic level, the thrust of public policy should be discouraged, wasteful consumption should be reduced, and savings should be encouraged. Simplicity in taxation should be there, which is continuously seen, and so that the gap between the rich and the poor is reduced. However, any anti-evasion and anti-corruption strategy lay emphasis on 6 important components. First, Identify the big corrupt evaders, and if they are punished, that becomes a lesson for others to follow. Greater involvement of people, that means more transparency, veil of secrecy be removed. More workshops should be organized about the dimensions of malady so as to create general awareness. Many a times people are evading or avoiding because they are not aware of the system. They run away from the system. They don't realize what exactly the system is. Stricter penalties should be there for corrupt, and reward should be there for honest. That would motivate and encourage people to be more honest. They will not be shirking. For laws to work, efforts should be made to improve transparency, and evasion and corruption has to be fought in the minds and hearts of the people, not as a structure. If from inside we don't want to evade taxes, the evasion system, more tax culture, and a faith should also be there that whatever tax we are paying, that tax is being spent in a proper manner. So, the ultimate success will depend on adequacy of measures in terms of scope and power, and commitment of political will to achieve goals of minimizing corruption, which they are doing. So, tax evasion, tax planning and tax avoidance were the three concepts very important related to tax when we have dealt with tax. Now, one question for your evaluation, that clearly distinguish between tax avoidance, tax planning and tax evasion, what these three are, as well as enumerate briefly the measures undertaken by the government to control evasion in India. So, this is a question which I am leaving for you to answer and evaluate your understanding. These are the suggested readings, and this section of public finance must be of help to you. So, thank you.